Hello everyone, I'm Pat Stoetzer and welcome to CMSportsNet's 2022 Fall Sports Wrap-Up Show. CMSportsNet covered Carroll County High School girls soccer and football in earnest this fall. We chronicled some of the county's top teams and athletes throughout the season, from preseason practice in mid-August all the way through the state playoffs in mid-November. There were plenty of success stories, from a three-way tie for the Carroll County Athletic League football title to a pair of girls soccer teams playing for state championships. We also had college sports covered with men's soccer action and highlights from Carroll Community College. Now, you'll hear from several Carroll County coaches throughout the show. Plus, we'll announce our girls soccer and football players of the year. And we'll recap all the other Carroll County fall sports too. We've got a lot to get to, so let's get into it. Welcome to CMSportsNet's 2022 Fall Sports Wrap-Up Show. Joining me now is Century Girls Soccer Coach Chris Little. Coach, appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Pat.
Century High School's girls soccer team repeated as Carroll County Athletic League champs, and this fall the Knights kept things rolling in the postseason. They ended the 2022 year on a 7-game winning streak, which featured Class 2A regional and state championships along the way. Century's 1-0 win over Glenelg on November 18th gave the program its 4th state title overall and its first since 2013. Before we dive a little deeper into Century's season, let's take a look at how Carroll County's other teams fared in 2022. Westminster went 4-2 in Carroll County Athletic League play and finished in second place thanks to a 1-0 win over Liberty in September. The Owls finished 9-6 and had one player land on the All-CCAL first team, senior forward Ella Busi, who netted 9 goals this fall. Liberty also went 4-2 in county play, and the Lions posted 8 wins this year, led by forward Hannah DeVincent and midfielder Maddie Reitina. DeVincent had 10 assists, and Reitina scored 10 goals. They were first-team All-CCAL picks, along with midfielders Rose Larner and Grace Young. Coach, this time around, you were able to beat Liberty with a little bit of ease. Doesn't always happen that way. But what is it about those games, the Century and Liberty girls games, that brings out the best in both sides?
You know, the girls are so competitive. All the kids from all the different county schools get to play each other for a lot of different times throughout their careers,
right,
being from the youth up until high school. So those games are often prepped and primed and ready to go. So we just want to show up, give the kids a great opportunity, and, you know, let the fans enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get back to the county teams. Manchester Valley defeated Westminster in the 3A North playoffs and finished 7-6-2, 3-3 in the CCAL. The Mavericks bowed out against Mount Hebron, the eventual 3A runner-up. Man Valley featured first-team All-CCAL players in forward Emma Penchik and midfielder Casey Meredith, who combined for 14 goals and 12 assists. South Carroll struggled during the regular season before catching fire in time for the playoffs. The Cavaliers were 2-3-1 in the county and 5-5-2 before the postseason, then won 5 playoff games in a row to reach the Class 1A state final. South Carroll fell short against Falston in the title game and ended the season at 10-6-1. Senior defender Lauren Chesney earned first-team All-CCAL honors. Coach, you and South Carroll had similar postseason paths. What was it like having another Southern County team make a state championship run like you guys did?
You know, it was fantastic. As a matter of fact, the two of us were practicing on opposing fields. You know, we were sharing each other's goalies for penalty kicks practice. So we were doing a lot of things together. And I was calling him after the games and saying, congrats, congrats, and he was doing the same. Yeah. So it was really positive for the coaches and the players in the two programs.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Andrea Sacco in South Carroll. All right, back into the action. Winters Mill jumped out to a 4-1 start, but ran into difficulty after that. The Falcons finished 1-5 in the county, but still had a 6-6 regular season record. Gracie Weinrich led the county in scoring with 32 points, and she earned the first-team All-County honors along with teammate Kiyomi Mastro. Francis Scott Key went winless in the Carroll County Athletic League at 0-6, but the Eagles enjoyed some lopsided victories during the fall. One of those wins came in the playoffs, 9-1 over Pikesville. Midfielder Lana O'Donnell and forward Abby Rieger were first-team All-CCAL picks, and Rieger scored 8 goals for FSK. Now it's time to dive deeper into Century's 15-3 season. The Knights repeated as Carroll County Athletic League champs and went 6-0 in county play. They outscored their Carroll foes 17-3 and had 3 shutouts in those games. Century ended the season with 7 consecutive victories, all shutouts, and captured the Class 2A state title with that 1-0 win over Glenelg at Ridley Athletic Complex. Coach, it's been a few weeks since the state final. You've had a little time to let it sink in, but what still stands out in your mind about the entire run to the championship?
I keep smiling ear to ear. Just a lot of fun. I mean, and it was interesting. I think that was one of the things that made the season so great was the chemistry and just the fun the girls wanted to have with one another. The captains came to me and said, "Coach, we just want to make sure we remember this season." I said, "Well, win a state championship and you'll remember it."
Easy and done, right?
Easy and done.
Yeah. I think you told us that you had 15 or 16 girls score goals during the season. When did it become evident to you that the offense was going to be that balanced? Because you graduated the Player of the Year in Haley Greenway.
Yeah, when you lose 20 goals a season for the last 3 years, you do kind of wonder where it's going to come from. But I will tell you, we always schedule a preseason tournament early in the season. The girls put together their goal sheet at the beginning of the season, and our goal this year was to have 7 different scorers. By that first scrimmage, we had already had 7 different goal scorers for that tournament game. So we were basically 3 games in and had everybody doing it. So I think that was really, oh my gosh, we might have something special.
Yeah, no doubt about that. On the defensive side, 10 shutouts this year means your defense was dominant. How proud are you of the way that whole unit performed throughout the fall, from the start, like you said, in August all the way to mid-November?
Yeah, it's a really special group. We had asked somebody, Emily Beldenell, to change positions this year, and she went to our center back position. We actually changed formations from a 3-back to a 4-back system. We moved the 100-yard state champion in track to a defensive role. We had 2 other defensive players really step up, and then a substitute performing wonderfully for us in a state championship game.
Yeah.
So that defense together, anchored by Mia Graff, really performed so well together.
Yeah. CMSportsNet recognized 2 outstanding girls soccer players this fall, one on offense and the other on defense. First up, it's the Offensive Player of the Year, Liberty senior forward Maddie Reitina. Now, like I said, Coach, I know you guys got by the Lions in a big way, but how did Reitina make it tough for opposing defenses, just the way she plays the game?
Anybody who knows me knows that I plan, prep, and prepare for teams. I'll scout you, I'll look at you, and Maddie Reitina is the kind of player that makes us, wonder. And what's really unique about what Maddie's senior season was like was because she played outside midfielder for most of her career at Liberty, then switches to a forward.
Wow.
I'm like, I can't even use game film from last year.
That's right.
So, that made it unique. We knew we had to plan for her, and, they scored, and she was the goal scorer.
Yeah, she was.
So really a good testament to her effort this year.
Yeah. All right, CMSportsNet's Brandon Burkhardt recently caught up with Maddie, so let's hear what she had to say. Maddie Reitina, the Offensive Player of the Year.
I'm here with Madison Reitina, the CMSportsNet Girls Soccer Offensive Player of the Year. She is a senior at Liberty High School, and she's the midfielder on the team. Maddie led the team in goals, led her Lions to a lot of wins this year. Maddie, when you reflect back on this year for you, just all in all, what sticks out to you the most?
Definitely just the team. Like the girls together, we definitely bonded over this last season, on and off the field. Our chemistry on the field together was just great all around, because we had skill all around the field this year, so it was definitely great together.
Talk to me about the responsibility you may feel of being the team's goal scorer. You converted a lot of scoring opportunities this year. What was going on behind the scenes to make that happen?
As being a captain, we were part of being a leader too, so we had to make sure to uplift our team through anything. And compared to last year, this year was definitely better for me because of the change in position. Last year I just played right mid through my whole high school years, and this year we changed me to forward, so that definitely created an opportunity for me to get as much goals as possible.
Coming into the year, you talk about your mindset. Was it any different from years past, knowing that this was your senior year, that this was it? Was there a kind of pressure, I guess, coming into it, or was it just business as usual?
It was definitely a lot of pressure, but you had to come in with confidence, and because I know I definitely wanted to take the spot as a captain this year and be the leader for my team. Since I don't play club, this is my whole team.
You're out here at the All-Star game. I mean, what's that feeling like to be out here with all these talented players?
I'm just so excited to be with them one last time. These are all my best friends. I grew up playing FSC with all of them, so it's just great to be back together again.
And then last question, are there any plans to continue playing soccer after this year, after graduation?
Not at the moment. Since I don't play club, it's really hard to reach out, but I have been reaching out to some college coaches because I do want to play in college.
Awesome. And best of luck to you with that. Congratulations again on winning this award. This is Maddie Reitina, the CMSportsNet Girls Offensive Player of the Year.
Thanks, Brandon. Of course, we're not done handing out postseason honors. Next up is someone Coach Little is quite familiar with, Century senior goalkeeper Mia Graff. Mia put up a whole bunch of goose eggs for the Knights this year. What was it like watching her shine in the net, Coach?
You know, it's pretty awesome. This player didn't even play goalie her freshman year. She converted to goalie in her sophomore year, worked hard every single season, and she's going to go play college soccer for, a really good program out in Frostburg.
That's great.
Because of her work rate, because of her effort. So it's exciting to watch her achieve so much with what she's been able to do.
Yeah. Once again, it's Brandon Burkhardt catching up with Mia Graff, our Defensive Player of the Year.
Here I am with the Defensive Player of the Year, Mia Graff, Century goalkeeper. Mia, reflect back on this year. You enjoyed a lot of team success, obviously with a state title, and a lot of personal success. Here you are, the Defensive Player of the Year. Just kind of look back and just tell me, what's the feeling like?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that this team is just fun. I love playing soccer. I always have. But the biggest thing is just getting to be with my friends the entire time, playing with the girls that I love to play with. And, we have so many good memories back from the season, whether it's practices or games or just it's all those fun times that we get to have together.
These last 7 weeks or last 7 games you guys played in didn't allow a single goal, and probably the main reason why you guys were able to come out on top in the state title. What's the mentality you got to be like to be able to do something like that in goal?
Definitely the trust in my defense. As much as you want to say it's me, I have to give all the credit to my girls, my four in the back. They really help stop most of everything on defense. Every single shot, that's just when a little bit of something gets through. Every single time that there's not a shot, though, that's all the defense. And so they're really the biggest thing is just making sure they trust me, I trust them.
Coming into this year, this was your senior year. Was there any form of preparation that was different, knowing this was it, or was it just same old, same old?
I would say the only preparation was probably just mentality. Mentally, I'm coming this season. I'm like, this is my last time playing high school soccer. The biggest thing was making sure that I'm not working myself in order to exactly get better. And while I am doing that, but I'm mostly working myself to enjoy the memories with my girls for the last little bit that I have left. I wasn't coming this season trying to change anything, I guess physically too much or change really a game plan for anything, but just really making sure that while I was focusing previously in the previous years on getting better and making sure that physically I'm more fit to the position, I'm now moving on to something where it's kind of just hey, this is your last chance you're going to get with the girls. You need to enjoy it the most you can.
4 years here, being a Century Knight, what's the fondest memory you're going to take away from it?
That's a really tough question. Gosh,
tough questions here.
The best memory I have taking away. Probably just the friendships I've made. There's been a lot of girls that we might not have been as close just in school, but then I came in through soccer and I was these girls are now some of my best friends. And I would say probably one of the best is one of our center backs, Pellicciotti. She's hopefully going to be going and rooming with me in college. And so that's something that's she brought, or soccer brought that to me, and now that's one of my fondest relationships. I have to say probably the biggest part of it is making sure that I have come here and I've gotten a lot better in my soccer self, but my personal self, I've grown so much in my relationships, and that's the best thing that can ever happen to somebody.
And that's the beauty of sports, right?
Yep, that's true.
Thank you so much for your time here. This is Mia Graff, the Defensive Player of the Year for girls soccer.
Congratulations to Maddie Ratina and Mia Graff, this year's CMSportsNet Girls Soccer Players of the Year. And a big thanks to Century's Chris Little. Coach, we appreciate you giving us some of your time.
Thanks again.
Coming up, we'll shift to football and talk to the first of 3 county football coaches who will be joining us for this edition of the Wrap-Up Show. South Carroll's Mike Kraus joins us in studio coming up next. And later, we'll unveil the Football Player of the Year. Stick around, we'll be right back.
The Girls Soccer Players of the Year are sponsored by Genova's To Go. Locations in Westminster, Manchester, Hampstead, Hanover, and coming soon, Eldersburg. Genova's, pizza, pasta, subs, and more.
Welcome back. I'm joined now by South Carroll football coach Mike Kraus, who led the Cavaliers to 9 wins and shared the Carroll County title with Liberty and Westminster. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Thanks, Pat.
Before we talk more about the Cavs, let's go back and check out how some of the other county teams did in 2022. Manchester Valley finished at 5-5 overall and 3-3 in the county. The Mavericks won 4 in a row in October, and 3 of those wins were against Carroll teams. Wide receiver defensive back Blake Ray and tight end defensive end Markel Brown earned all CCAL first team honors both ways, and quarterback Jake Boog threw for more than 1,700 yards. Winters Mill won 3 games this fall and 2 games against county foes, and the Falcons held their own against county champions South Carroll and Westminster. Punter Camden Cook, all-purpose Luke Snyder, linebacker Jesse Tobias, and lineman Candy McPassey all landed on the all-CCAL first team. Coach, the Falcons played you guys right down to the final minutes. Is that just a really good example of just the toughness of Carroll County football that you've talked to me about a lot through the years?
Most definitely. I think that Coach Miller and his staff did a great job in preparing for us, and it showed in the efforts that they played on that Friday night.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get back into the teams. Century had problems on offense this fall. The Knights mustered only 57 points, but got 21 of them in a victory over Francis Scott Key. They finished 1-9, 1-5 in the county. Linebacker Colin Perrier and defensive back Carter DeNicola received first-team All-CCAL honors. Francis Scott Key went 1-9, picking up its lone win in Week 2 against St. John's Catholic Prep. The Eagles had a rookie coach in David Cunningham and featured first-team All-CCAL pick Ben Stevens at all-purpose. Stevens threw for more than 890 yards and ran for 300 more. Now let's switch back to South Carroll. The Cavs posted 2 shutouts this fall, and their offense averaged 28 points per game. South Carroll had 2 games of 50 or more points scored this year in back-to-back weeks. South Carroll reached the Class 2A 1A state quarterfinals for the 2nd year in a row before falling short against Hartford Tech. Coach, 2 shutouts this year, and your defense allowed 12.5 points per game. That was the best in the county. It's been your calling card for a while. How pleased were you that this year's team kept that defensive tradition going?
I was real pleased with it. It really shows the efforts that our coaching staff puts forth with getting our defensive concept of being gap sound. But it all really starts with just the understanding of the kids knowing to do their job.
Right.
And that's our motto, and we stick by it.
Yeah.
And I think our defense shows that.
Yeah. You guys had a 15-game regular season win streak that was finally snapped this fall. That's really quite the accomplishment. Did the players recognize how rare that is? I mean, you got to go between seasons to get a streak like that going, and really well done.
Yeah, I think so. I think that if they didn't, the coaching staff sure did enough to put it in their heads. Yeah. We knew that each week we were going to get our opponent's best game effort. And each week we did. That was proven by the Winters Mill game and the Westminster game, of course.
Right.
And then finally giving, again, all the credit to Coach Luthe and his staff at Liberty. They prepared well, and that was a game that snapped our streak.
Right. But that being said, South Carroll 21 wins over the last 2 seasons with county titles and state tournament appearances in both. What has that success done for the program? You and I have talked a little bit about this not that long ago. You guys had 1 win, and you've really turned things around. I know you think things go in cycles, but what has this recent run done for the program?
Well, as we've said many times in our past, Coach Luthe, when he got back in 2009 and hired the staff that he did, we had set goals that we wanted to turn the football sport into more than just a sport at South Carroll. We wanted it to be a program, and we wanted the kids to respect the fact that if you were part of that program, things that you do on and off the field, are representations of that. And then not only that, but just being in the classroom, in the hallway, the cafeteria, and in public.
Right.
So, we think that, our goals have been attained, from that 2009 vision, and, we hopefully that we can continue that.
Yeah, it's been really a great run. I appreciate it, Coach. The 3 county champs played 3 memorable games against each other, and we're going to take a look back at all of them. First, let's go back to Week 3 when South Carroll visited Westminster at Ruby Field for a big intra-county matchup. What's a lasting memory from that game, Coach? I
think just the start. We preached all week about getting a fast start and proving the fact that we were the county champs last year, and we were going to have to play to that level, from the beginning until the end, and I think we did. All
right, let's revisit that Cavaliers-Owls clash from September 16th in Westminster.
South Carroll traveled to Westminster to renew Carroll's oldest and most played football rivalry. The 55th meeting between the Cavaliers and the Owls featured a pair of unbeaten teams who've been the class of the county over the past 3 seasons. After holding the Owls to a 3-and-out on their first series, the Cavs took over and took the lead on their first offensive play as A.J. Rodrigues took a handoff from Carter Mazalewski, runs through a gaping hole on the left side of the line, makes 1 cut, and sprints away from the Westminster defense. After Ryan Corrado's extra point, the Cavaliers led 7-0 barely 2 minutes in. Cavaliers put together another quick scoring drive the next time they touched the ball as Masalewski drops back and then fires a bomb to Drake Hibron for a 40-yard touchdown. With 6:27 left in the first quarter, the Owls find themselves down 14-0. But the Owls came to play too, and they put together a nice drive before the end of the quarter, capped by quarterback Kyrece Walker sprinting out to the right and under pressure from South Carroll's Gennaro Marchani and Ben Simmons, find running back Raekwon Warfield out in the flat. Warfield sprints in for an 11-yard touchdown catch and run, and Owen Harris's point after pulls the Owls within 14-7. It stayed that way as the Owls defense bottled up Rodrigues and the Cavs and then drove down the field for the tying touchdown. Running back Keandre Grooms did the honors behind some nice blocking, and Harris made it 14-14. The Owls got the ball back and quickly got into South Carroll territory in an effort to grab the lead, but South Carroll's Manny Rodrigues rocked Warfield, forcing a fumble that was recovered by Simmons, and suddenly the Cavaliers were back on the offensive. In 2 minutes, Masalewski drove the Cavs to the Westminster 10, setting up a 27-yard field goal by Corrado. His kick sent South Carroll into halftime with a 17-14 lead. The third quarter was dominated by defense, with the exception of this play, when Walker drops back on 3rd and 11 and uncorks a long pass to Mason Fisher, who hauls it in and sprints the remainder for his 64-yard touchdown, giving the Owls their first lead of the game. Fisher had a 58-yard touchdown run negated by a penalty 3 minutes into the fourth quarter. Shortly thereafter, the Cavaliers faced a 4th and 5 at the Westminster 43 when Masalewski decides to take it himself and picked up not only a first down but a 40-yard gain. 3 plays later, he ran it in from the 1 to put the Cavs back on top with 4:12 to play. The Owls hurt themselves with penalties and the Cavs played stout defense on Westminster's final 2 possessions, stopping the Owls short on 4th and 14 to clinch their second win over Westminster in as many years.
Later in the show, we're going to announce the CMSportsNet Football Player of the Year. It was a difficult choice this fall, and we narrowed it down to 5 finalists. First up is South Carroll senior A.J. Rodrigues, one of the stars from the game we just saw. Coach, you've used plenty of superlatives to describe A.J. Over 1,500 yards rushing. He's number 2 now all-time on the rushing list in South Carroll's history. That's an accomplishment in itself. What sort of impression has a guy like A.J. left on the program?
His leadership and his work ethic is second to none. And I think that the younger guys see that and they want to strive to do that same thing. And, A.J. is just A.J., man. He's just awesome. He's a great kid.
Before the season started, he told me that he wanted to break Coach Gavin's record. He came a little bit short, but it was nice to have Coach Gavin on the sideline, or on the coaching staff, Chris Gavin, to kind of be that mentor for him.
Yeah, right? I think he became 280 short, I think was the final.
1 game, basically.
Yeah, so we were hopeful that we would have gotten a little bit farther in the season and that would have given him a chance. But, that was his goal. But, doesn't hurt to be number 2 behind Chris.
And like you've told me, A.J. does a lot more than just run the football.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Coach Mike Kraus, thank you for spending some time with us today, and congratulations on a great season.
Thanks, Pat.
Coming up next, we'll chat with Liberty football coach Larry Luthe. We'll see more Football Player of the Year candidates, and don't forget, we'll be announcing our pick for Player of the Year later in the show. Stay tuned. The CM Sportsnet Fall Wrap-Up Show will be right back. Welcome back. With us now is Liberty football coach Larry Luthe. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Pat, how are you doing tonight?
Good, good. The Lions went from 3 wins in 2021 to 7 wins this season, and that included winning a piece of the county championship and playing in the 2A state quarterfinals. Liberty went 5-1 in the CCAL and averaged 35 points per game, the most in the county. Coach, let's start with your offense. 386 points this fall. It was the top number in the county. How did you see the offense make strides in 2022?
You know, I have to give the credit to the coaching staff. Brian Belt was our offense coordinator and our O-line coach. And then we had Ben Agostino, who coached our quarterback coach.
Former player of
Former
yours.
player of ours. And Ben and Jack are very much alike. You know, they both came in, and you wouldn't imagine either one were going to be a starting quarterback. You know, but they both worked their butts off. I think Ben was a little bit of an inspiration to Jack. Worked his tail off. And Ben did a good job of getting Jack comfortable and running our offense. And Brian did a great job of finding matchups that Jack could excel in and make plays with. You know, and plus we were a year older. We returned 8 starters.
Right.
So, you know, you put some experience together and you put some kids with great work ethic together. And, you know, I like, again, our coaches just put their minds to it, and they created an offense that pretty much could score at will.
Yeah.
One of my kids in class looked at our stats, and one thing he noticed, if we got the first down, we scored almost 72% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah, so, you know, once we got the first down, got in a rhythm, and that's what they were able to do, is find a rhythm for Jack, and he made teams pay with it.
The Liberty defense was solid as well, allowing just under 18 points per game. 4 times they held opponents to 1 score or less. How pleased were you with their performance all season long, and to go against, you know, to compare the offense as well?
Again, well, experience is a big thing. We returned a lot of starters on defense, a couple all-county players, and then Lance Evans. You know, it's his 3rd year working with it was his first year as our defense coordinator. But it was his 3rd year with this group. You know, when Sam came back, he got back into it. You know, and then Spencer Kieran returned from college from Muhlenberg, and he joined the staff this year. And you put Lance's old school know-how together and some of Spencer's ideas, and it meshed really well. They created a defense where our kids were really gap sound and understood coverage concepts. And we tackled pretty well. We were pretty happy with the way we tackled, other than A.J. Rodrigues. But we tackled overall. We tackled pretty well, and you know, we had some success on the defense side of the ball.
Liberty improved last season by 4 wins, and even in your 4 losses, they came by a combined 8 points. And I know that's frustrating, but to also show your team's grit and determination that you know they're going to compete all the way to the final whistle.
So yeah, that seemed to be an overlying theme for this team over the past 2 years. We were 1-8 in 1-score games.
Yeah.
And you know, part of that, we looked at it. We had 21 seniors on our team. Of those 21 seniors, 13 never played football till they got to high school.
Wow.
And then we had the short season. Their sophomore years, we had their short season. So I really feel like our inexperience at times hurt us in close games. But it was a testament to their grittiness. They never quit. We could be down by a score, be down by 2 scores in the 4th quarter, and they knew we were going to have an opportunity to win. And even in those close losses, we had opportunities. We had some plays there that we left on the table. We blew a coverage, we blew a kickoff coverage, we fumbled. There was jumped off sides. There was always something that kept us from finishing it. But I mean, we were proud. We were proud with that. If you've bought season tickets to the Liberty football team, you got your money's worth every week. And
absolutely.
We always played exciting football, and we never gave up. And the long run, the fact they never gave up, that's a life lesson I think that'll carry forever with these kids. So I couldn't be more proud of them.
Thanks, Coach. Now it's time for the second meeting among the 3 teams that wound up tying for the county title. Let's go to week 7 and see Liberty hosting South Carroll in a matchup that went right down to the wire for the second time in as many years. You just mentioned A.J. Rodrigues, Coach. What was that game like from your spot on the sideline?
Well, I think I said it to you after the game. He killed us early. He killed us early. Then we had a stretch where we were containing him. I think he had like 57 yards in his next 13 carries. And then the next play, he busts a 51-yard touchdown pass, and we go down. And my thought was, here we go again, and another close game. And to the kids' credit, they responded. They took it down the field, and we came out on top of this one. And we are glad for the win, excited for the win, and it gave us an opportunity to be here tonight. To be one of the county champions, hang a banner, and it was exciting. It was a great night.
Let's take a look at that one. The Cavaliers and the Lions from October 14th in Eldersburg. The last time Liberty and South Carroll faced each other, the result was a thrilling Cavaliers victory, and CMSportsNet dubbed it the Game of the Year. The most recent chapter in the rivalry turned into more of the same when the Lions and Cavs squared off on Friday, October 14th in Eldersburg. It's the Cavaliers who make the early statement. A.J. Rodrigues with a halfback toss to Jackson Strelzik on the first play from scrimmage. It goes for a 61-yard touchdown, and just like SC did against Westminster in Week 3, the Cavs score on their opening play. Liberty answers in a hurry. Quarterback Jack Pellicciotti finds Phil Sackett over the middle for a 66-yard touchdown pass. Just like that, we're tied at 7 with 10:52 to go in the first quarter. South Carroll scores again, and it's Rodrigues on the ground this time. The senior finds room through the middle and heads to the far sideline for a 29-yard touchdown. The PAT is no good, but it's 13-7 for the Cavaliers. What a first quarter for South Carroll. Here's Rodrigues again, and he stays on his feet and breaks off a 31-yard touchdown run. The Cavs go for 2 and come up short, so the lead is 19-7 with 3:29 to play in the first. The Lions aren't done scoring either. Seth Jacobs finds room and scampers into the end zone from 22 yards out. Liberty cuts the South Carroll lead to 19-14 in a wild first quarter of play. The only points in the second quarter comes with 5:10 to play on another Seth Jacobs touchdown. His second of the game is this 9-yard run, and Liberty takes a 21-19 lead over South Carroll. South Carroll can't corral the handoff, and Liberty's Brett Overman comes up with a fumble recovery for a big turnover. That leads to more Lions points. Jacobs from 1 yard out for his third TD of the game. Austin Series point after makes it 28-19 for the home team. South Carroll claws back. Nate Bohr takes the handoff on a misdirection play and races for a 32-yard touchdown. The Cavs cut the lead to 28-26 late in the third quarter. Liberty goes for a pass on 4th and 1 from the South Carroll 35, but Caleb Blum comes up with a huge sack on Pellicciotti to give the ball back to the Cavs. Late drama in this one, just like last season. Here's Rodrigues on 2nd and 3 for a 51-yard touchdown run, AJ's third of the game. And a Carter Mazalewski 2-point conversion makes it 34-28 Cavaliers with 3:08 to go. The Lions have one final drive with 3 minutes to play and convert a 4th down play while moving the ball into SC territory. With less than 1 minute remaining, it's Seth Jacobs one more time. He takes the handoff and gets into the end zone for a 15-yard touchdown. Austin Series' extra point gives Liberty a 1-point lead in the closing seconds. And the revenge game is complete for the Lions. Final score is Liberty 35, South Carroll 34. Seth Jacobs runs for more than 160 yards and scores 4 touchdowns for the Lions, who snapped the Cavaliers' 15-game regular season win streak. We're back now with 2 more of our 5 CMSportsNet Football Player of the Year finalists, and both of them are from Liberty High School. The Lions had standout seasons from senior receiver Sam Evans and senior quarterback Jack Pellicciotti. Coach, let's start with Sam Evans, who led Carroll County in receptions and receiving yards, and he finished with 16 touchdowns. How special was Sam for your team this year?
You know, Sam was a kid, unfortunately, couldn't play football till he got to high school. And then when we found out he could play, we knew he was a tremendous athlete. He played baseball, he was a basketball player. And we just thought, oh, this is exciting. You know, he's been around football. His dad coached at River Hill when he was young, and then at Liberty. So he's been around football forever, and he was just so excited to play, and we were excited to have him. And he's made himself a great football player. He was gifted with some great genetics athletically, but again, he benches about 250, squats. He can touch the rim with 2 hands, and he's not that tall. He's only about 5'8". He's just a tremendous athlete. Very supportive of his teammates. He's a great teammate. He works at being a good receiver. He takes pride in his routes. He takes pride in his blocking. We didn't have to use him, but we had a little package for him at quarterback. Occasionally he would go in and run some things for us. And he was also a great defensive back for us. We always put him against the other team's best receiver, and he made some plays defensively. He could shut down people. And we were just real fortunate to have him. He's a kid you build your program around. Like I said, he was a 4.33 student. He's being looked at some lower level Division I schools, and he'll have some options out there being such a great student and a great athlete. We're excited to see what he does in the future.
Next up for you is Jack Pellicciotti, led the county in passing yards, threw for 27 touchdowns. He ran for 400 yards as well, and he's number 2 now on Liberty's all-time passing list. How did you see Jack grow in his senior year? I know you can say a lot about Jack as well.
I kind of said this off the air, but if you'd have seen Jack as a freshman and you thought that he was going to be your starting varsity quarterback, it's just a testament to how hard he works. He never played football till he got to high school. Never really threw a football, other than playing around in the backyard with his brothers. He came to high school. He wanted to be a quarterback. We knew he was, he's Pellicciotti, so we knew he was smart. He was going to be tough, and he was going to become a great athlete. He made himself. He's another one. He benches over 270 pounds, squats over 300 pounds, over 350, cleans. Never missed a workout. 4.3 student, 4.5 student, wants to major in applied mathematics when he gets out. So he wants to play at the next level, and he wants to major in math. A great teammate, was always supportive of everybody out there. And has developed. Just became a great communicator of what he liked out there and what he didn't like. He could tell you what the coverage was, what he saw. Sometimes on film it wasn't exactly what he thought he saw, but he never just threw the ball up blind in games. It was just great to see his progression, and he was excited to learn, and we were excited to have him, and he grew tremendously through his 3 years.
Coach, thank you very much for spending some time with us, and congrats on an outstanding season. We've got some more high school football coming up. We'll talk about Westminster's season, see highlights from another game of the year, and we're getting closer to unveiling the Football Player of the Year. Don't go away. The CMSportsNet Fall Wrap-Up Show will be right back. Skill, dedication, leadership. Just a few of the things it takes to be named CMSportsNet's Athlete of the Week. Hi, I'm Pat Stoetzer. Each week, CMSportsNet recognizes an outstanding player for their contribution to their sport. Meet some of Carroll County student athletes and join us as we celebrate their performance, impact, and outstanding accomplishments. The CMSportsNet Athlete of the Week is sponsored by Genova's To Go, locations in Westminster, Manchester, Hampstead, Hanover, and coming soon, Eldersburg. Genova's To Go, pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Welcome back. Westminster football coach Chris Bowser couldn't be with us today, but fortunately, I'm joined by Owls assistant coach Jeff Kent. I appreciate you coming in to help us out, Coach.
All right, well, thank you. Glad to be here.
The Owls finished with 10 wins and a piece of the Carroll County Athletic League title. The Owls hit 30 or more points 5 times this season and made a Class 3A state quarterfinal appearance for the second year in a row. Coach, the offense averaged 31 points per game and featured a lot of scoring options. As a staff, how happy were you to see things click like they did on offense?
Yeah, I think we were real happy, and there's some new kids into the mix right away. But then as the season progressed, especially up front, I think we started getting better up front, and I think that made a big difference for us. And of course, having ball players like Kyrece and Mason in the mix, having that ability to score really at any time, really. And I think that was, we were able to put together a bunch of good games that way, and I think they did a great job doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. After losing to South Carroll in Week 3, you reeled off 8 straight wins, very similar to how last year's season went. What was it about your players that they were able to come back from adversity the way they did like that and really not let that loss hinder the season the rest of the way?
I think a lot of it starts with a couple things. Great senior leadership, great group of kids, and I think we had a great group of kids last year, and I think they responded. But I think they do respond very well to Coach Basler and his leadership, and he's not going to let, anything like that stop us from doing what we need to do, and I think that was huge, and they responded very well to that, So it was good going forward like that. Yeah.
And you mentioned Coach Bowser. That's 33 wins in 4 seasons with him as the head coach. What has this recent run been like for this coaching staff and the program to get Westminster back to that state contender year after year?
Well, I think it's real important to him, and I think his program, Coach Bowser's program, is extremely important, and he'll do anything he can for it. And I think we see that as a coaching staff. I think the players see that, and we have a good time. We have a good time out there, just coaching the kids up every day, and we get along very well, and it's good. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
One of Westminster's more memorable games this year, wins this year, took place in Week 8 when the Owls hosted Liberty in a big county matchup. Overtime was needed to settle the score. Westminster had a lot of close games this year, and the Lions, or a few close games, I should say, and the Lions were one of them. What was that game like with so many stars on the field on both sides of the ball?
Well, yeah, it was an intense game. It was an exciting game, and that's what, just having been around, been in Carroll County coaching since '96, and those are great games, and you don't ever forget them. And there was a lot of just great things being done on the football field by both teams, and being familiar somewhat with the kids from Liberty,
sure,
and just seeing all these kids out there. And I think there was a good amount of respect by both teams towards each other, but just it was good. The kids were looking forward to the game. They were excited about it. It was a great football game. Good Carroll County football.
And you have a tie to both those programs, so it's a little special whenever Liberty and Westminster get to play each other.
Oh, it really is. It really is. It's exciting. I'm fortunate to have had the opportunity to be with both programs and see it from a different perspective, and knowing a lot of the coaches and the kids on both sides, and so that makes it special.
All right, let's go back to October 21st at Ruby Field for the final game contested by the eventual Tri-County champions. Westminster and Liberty met on October 21st for a big Carroll County Athletic League football game at Ruby Field, with county championship stakes on the line. The Lions entered the contest at 4-0 in county play, with the Owls at 3-1, needing a victory to hope for a tie for first place. After stopping the Owls on a 4th down near midfield, it's Liberty with the first points of the game. Quarterback Jack Pellicciotti tosses it to Sam Evans, who makes a few defenders miss and completes an 18-yard touchdown. It's 7-0 Liberty in the first quarter. Westminster tries to respond. Another 4th down try, and this time, Kyrece Walker connects with Jackson Zaransky for 22 yards and a big first down. The drive ends with a 1-yard touchdown from Mikey Simons, and after the PAT, we are tied 7-7 late in the first quarter. Liberty comes up with the game's first takeaway. It's Michael Steinbrunner with a nifty interception at the 31-yard line. Defense dominates in the first half, however, and we're tied at 7-all at the break. Liberty's Austin Siri comes up a little short on his 42-yard field goal try as time runs out in the half. But the Owls get something going on the second half kickoff. Mason Fisher fields the ball to 23 and uses the sideline before reversing course and racing to the far corner for a 77-yard touchdown. Westminster takes a 14-7 lead with a bang. Liberty benefits from a roughing the passer penalty on a 4th down incompletion late in the 3rd quarter, and Pellicciotti goes to the air for a 14-yard touchdown strike to Carson Struble. Once again, we're tied up, 14 apiece. The Lions put together a long drive in the 4th before faced with a 3rd and forever situation. But Pellicciotti finds Evans for a huge pass that results in a first down for Liberty, a pickup of 43 yards. That leads to a touchdown for the visitors. Pellicciotti spots Struble all alone in the end zone for an 18-yard scoring play. Series point after puts Liberty on top 21-14 with 2:47 to go. This play almost ends it for Liberty, but Walker gets a completion to Zaransky despite Steinbrunner nearly coming away with a second interception. That leads to this. Walker hooks up with Fisher across the back of the end zone for a 13-yard touchdown. Kyrece makes the point after, and it's 21-21 with overtime coming up. Liberty gets the ball first, and Pellicciotti finds Phil Sackett for a 5-yard touchdown. Lions take the lead. but the extra point is botched, and the Lions lead by only 6 points. The Owls get an offensive possession, and it doesn't last long. Kyrece Walker scrambles for 10 yards and the tying touchdown. This time, the point after is true from Owen Harris, and Westminster survives in another classic. Final score is Westminster 28, Liberty 27. Kyrece Walker runs for a TD in overtime and throws for one in regulation, and Mason Fisher has 2 touchdowns for the Owls. It's time for the last 2 CMSportsNet Football Player of the Year finalists, and both hail from Westminster High School. One of them is senior Mason Fisher, the other is junior Kyrece Walker. Coach, let's start with Mason Fisher, wide receiver, defensive back, special teams threat. He led the team in catches and receiving yards. He played well on defense. He shined on special teams, 14 touchdowns, blazing speed. Special doesn't really cut it when you talk about Mason, does it?
No, it really doesn't. And just it starts with his character and just a great kid. And I think what you see out on the football field really reflects the kind of person he is. You get the ball in his hands, he wants to take it to the end zone, he wants to make that tackle, he wants to do those special things. Great kid, did tremendous stuff for us.
Speaking of special, quarterback Kyrece Walker threw for 1,800 plus yards, ran for 1,000 plus yards. That may have never been done before in the county. Scored 16 touchdowns, passed for 19 more, all in his first year as a quarterback. How much fun was it watching him play this fall in that new role?
It was pretty neat. Seeing him play last year as a corner, first team all-county corner, and then coming in and just waiting his time to embrace that role of quarterback. And it was pretty neat watching. You saw it up there when we played Linganore and had just a phenomenal game, and you could see it then just starting to click. Say, man, this is going to be a special year for him. And he showed what he could do, so it was great. And just another great kid. Just a great kid to be around. A lot of fun to coach.
Yeah, 2 good ones for sure. Yeah. Coach Jeff Kent, thanks for joining us today. Congratulations on the team's success this year.
All right, well, thank you.
When CMSportsNet wrap-up show continues, we'll check in with the other Carroll County sports teams and how they did this fall season. And coming up right after the break, we'll announce the CMSportsNet Football Player of the Year. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey there, I'm Pat Stoetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
It's our new podcast, and each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss the Score and More podcast, presented by CMSportsNet.
The Score and More Sports podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels. You've seen our 5 finalists. Now it's time to unveil our choice for CMSportsNet Football Player of the Year for the 2022 season. It's South Carroll's A.J. Rodrigues. The senior ran for 1,514 yards, tops in the county, and scored 22 touchdowns on the ground, also the best in Carroll. He finished his Cavaliers career with 2,747 rushing yards, second most in program history. He also threw for a touchdown. CMSportsNet's Brandon Burkhardt recently caught up with the 2022 Football Player of the Year. Let's see what A.J. Rodrigues had to say.
I'm joined by South Carroll running back A.J. Rodrigues. A.J. was recently selected as the CMSportsNet's Football Most Outstanding Player of the Year award. A.J. led the league in rush yards, rush touchdowns, total points. A.J., I'd be wrong if I didn't ask. The most important question, how are you able to have so much success this year running on the ground?
I did a lot of work in the offseason with my coach, and he helped me prepare for this senior season. And I have a great connection with my offensive line, and they like me a lot. So they paved the way for me to have all my touchdowns, all my yards. So without them, there's none of that.
I'm sure we talked about this a bunch this year with me and Pat. The expectations that were set coming into the year based on what you guys did a year ago as a team and you as a player. How did you find yourself managing those expectations at the start of the year and then during the year?
Well, we just took everything one at a time. We weren't really thinking, we got to get to states, we got to win each game one at a time. And we fell short, but it helped us to just think one at a time.
You're a two-way player on this Cavaliers team, and that's a lot of responsibility because you don't get many breaks. It's just one drive after the other. How do you find yourself just kind of managing that workload and throughout the game and throughout the season?
Well, I trained a lot in the offseason to, keep my wind up and can withstand the long games. And the coaches will give me a break here and there, but my win was good enough to stay in the game,
Which one do you have more fun playing?
Offense.
I figured. You got a chance this year to play with your brothers. What was that experience like? Not many people get to do that. I guess it must be really cool. What's it like?
It's nothing I've ever seen before. I got to play with both my little brothers, and I loved it. It's the most fun I've ever had playing football. And seeing my younger brother score and then my youngest brother score is pretty awesome.
As one of the most talented players we've seen in Carroll County in some time here, are there any plans to continue playing at the next level?
I hope so. We'll see.
Nothing official as of right now?
There's a couple schools, but we got to see it. We might wrestle or we might play football. We haven't decided yet.
That's awesome. Congratulations again on this award. This is AJ Rodrigues, the CMSportsNet's Football Most Outstanding Player of the Year.
Congratulations to AJ and the other CMSportsNet Player of the Year finalists. It was definitely fun watching all of them play this fall. Now let's send it over to Brandon Burkhardt to recap the other Carroll County fall sports from the 2022 season.
Thanks, Pat. Let's start with boys soccer, where Liberty won its 5th county championship in the last 7 seasons. The Lions went 6-0 against Carroll foes and tallied 53 goals during the regular season. Century finished behind both Liberty and Westminster in the county standings, but once again, the Knights saved their best for last. They knocked off the Lions 3-2 in overtime to win the Class 2A West title for the 2nd year in a row. Century was joined in the state quarterfinals by South Carroll, as the Cavaliers secured the 1A North Region 1 title for the 2nd time in as many seasons. Westminster featured the CCAL's Player of the Year in senior midfielder Jimmy Gogol, who finished the season with 17 goals. Over to field hockey now, with Westminster capturing the county title for the first time in 5 years. The Owls were one of 4 teams to reach a state semifinal this fall. Francis Scott Key and South Carroll played each other in the 1A semis, and the Cavaliers won to advance to the final. Manchester Valley played in the 2A title game, and the Owls made it to the 3A semifinals. Man Valley goalie Charlotte Sherman was the coach's pick for the CCAL Player of the Year. Liberty dominated the volleyball season and won its first county title since 2015. The Lions went 19-0 and defeated Middletown in 4 sets to earn the Class 2A state championship. South Carroll played in the Class 1A state final after making a 2nd straight semifinal appearance. The Cavaliers and Owls tied for 2nd in the county standings. Liberty also boasted the CCAL Player of the Year in senior outside hitter Sarah Hart, who posted 22 kills in the state final. South Carroll claimed the Gulf County title for the first time outright since 2014, finishing with 17 total points. Manchester Valley was 2nd with 14, and Liberty took 3rd with 11. The Cavaliers went 5-0-1 in the county and finished 1st at the county tournament to secure the overall title. The Cavs also placed 2nd at the 2A 1A state tournament, 3 strokes behind champion Poolesville. South Carroll sophomore Patrick Carl won the county tournament by shooting a 77 at Oakmont Green on October 20th. In boys cross country, Century ended a decade-long drought by taking 1st place at the county meet on October 26th at Carroll Community College. The Knights had 3 runners in the top 10 and finished with 42 points. Senior Peyton Dill won the race in 16 minutes, 33.4 seconds. FSK won the 1A South team title, Liberty took 2nd at the 2A West meet, and Century was runner-up at the 2A state meet. Another dry spell came to an end in girls cross country when Westminster won its first county meet title in 15 years. The Owls had 4 runners in the top 8, led by champion Hannah Toth and runner-up Audrey Houle, and posted 31 points. Toth had a dominant senior season. She ran 1st at the Bull Run Invite, 3A East meet, and 3A state meet. South Carroll ran 1st at the 1A South meet, and Century was runner-up at the 2A West meet. It was a successful fall season all around for Carroll County athletics. Back to you, Pat.
Thanks, Brandon. And a shout out to all of the fall Carroll County Athletic League champions. We're not finished just yet. Coming up next, we've got a recap of the Carroll Community College men's soccer season from the fall. You'll hear from Lynx coach Tom O'Brien and a few of his players right after this.
The Football Player of the Year is sponsored by Genova's To Go. Locations in Westminster, Manchester, Hampstead, Hanover, and coming soon, Eldersburg. Genova's Pizza, Pasta, Subs, and more.
What does it take to cover local high school sports? It takes staff and volunteers, equipment, training, and community support from people like you. You can help by making a donation to the Community Media Center today. Your gift is an investment in our community, our schools, and most of all, our student athletes. We want to expand our coverage to include both boys and girls sports, but we can't do it without your help. So please, make your donation today and help us bring high school sports to every screen in Carroll County.
We're back with the CMSportsNet 2022 Fall Wrap-Up Show. It was an up-and-down season for the Carroll Lynx, who started 3-3 before ending with 9 losses in a row. Still, Carroll had its highlights. Joey Brower had 9 goals, give him 20 for his career, while Sammy Leone totaled 124 saves in the goal. I caught up at the end of the season with Coach O'Brien, Joey, and Sammy to talk about their 2022 campaign. Sammy, I know you had a successful start to the season, one of the athletes of the week for Carroll Lynx earlier in the year. What was it like, really becoming the go-to goalie for this team this fall? It was a different goalie last year than it was this year. How did you see yourself grow in that position?
It was certainly interesting. There were a lot of challenges, but I kind of wish that there was another goalkeeper on the team because then there could have been someone to kind of compete with and kind of have that growing and that going back and forth. But there were benefits to being the only goalkeeper, and definitely saw myself grow as a leader in the defense at the start of the season. I really struggled with communication and connecting with my defense, and by the end of the season, I think we were doing really well. So.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going to ask you. Obviously, your main job is to keep the ball out of the net. But what's 1 or 2 things you really have to focus on while the game's going on? The communication, I would think, being top of the list.
Yeah, so definitely communication. Positioning is a huge thing. It's a lot of people have this idea that goalkeepers just kind of stand on the line and wait for the shots to come. But I was often all the way outside of the 18-yard box wandering around my half of the field because, if there was a through ball that was overkicked, it made it easier for me to get there. So that was definitely a focus, was not just, sitting where I was, but being very active and kind of mentally engaging with the game by moving around and watching the play that was happening. So, yeah.
And then last question, I know the last month was a bit of a challenge for you guys, but this program's new and it's still trying to make some strides. Do you think that things are going in the right direction in terms of Carroll Lynx men's soccer?
I really do. It's a young program. I was surprised to hear how young the program is, but I really think that they can improve. I think that there is a bright future for Carroll, and I really look forward to seeing how they do in future seasons.
Joey, I know one of your main missions here is to kind of be the goal scorer, and 2 years in a row you've done a lot of goal scoring. How do you feel about the mark you made in terms of community college men's soccer here at Carroll?
I'm very happy with the strides I made here. I was able to accomplish some big things, and I'm very excited about that. And see my hard work pay off. I spent a lot of time training with my brother and everything, and I'm glad to see just it produced throughout games and stuff. Yeah, I'm happy about that.
With a relatively new roster from a year ago, guys graduated, so 2-year cycle, you were able to come back. What was it? Maybe some of the challenges were just sort of making everything gel. The last month, obviously, there were some challenges the team had to go through. Is that the biggest thing that is the toughest thing maybe to do, is try to make sure that everyone's on the same page with so many new faces?
Yeah, it's hard to gel with new players quickly, especially since a lot of our players were injured or had other circumstances where they were unable to play for a lot of the season. It was hard to gel with them quickly and be able to make passes and just connect well and be able to finish in the end and score goals and win games.
That being said, there were some strides. There was some success early in the season. You guys had I think you had a shutout win in there as well, and obviously, compared to the last month, but still, you feel like the Lynx are going in the right direction. You think progress is being made here in this program?
Yes, I do. It's like you said earlier. It's a young program, and I think there's room to grow, and I think in time that will happen, and the Lynx can become a very successful program in the future, I believe. Yeah.
Coach, I know you don't like to, maybe you could take the first month and the second month apart in terms of just the progress you guys made and then some challenges you faced late in the season. Now you've had some time to let the whole season sink in. Can you look back and say that, there were more positives and there were negatives? Forget about the record. I'm talking about just how the guys grew and became better players.
It's always more positive than negative anytime you're out playing a game you love, because it's still a game. So for me, I enjoyed it. Obviously, we enjoy winning more than we enjoy not winning. But the reality of it is that, we developed over the months. We started scoring goals, more so in late September, early October. We had a really tough game against Potomac toward the end there in the quarterfinal of the regionals. Put 2 in the net. Obviously, they put more in than us, but, until the 83rd minute, I felt optimistic that we could tie it and win it, either in the remaining minutes or in overtime. So we progressed from day one to the end of the season. Unfortunately, like anything, things happen. You have to, take what you have on the field and make the most of it. And there were times where we really never had our best 11 on the field, whether it was injuries, whether it was red cards, whether it was clearing people to be eligible to play. So, but again, I go back to anytime you're out on the field, playing a game you love, it's positive.
That's all the time we have for the CMSportsNet 2022 Fall Sports Wrap-Up Show. My thanks to our studio guests, Century girls soccer coach Chris Little, South Carroll football coach Mike Kraus, Liberty football coach Larry Luthe, and Westminster football assistant coach Jeff Kent. And my thanks to CMSportsNet colleague Brandon Burkhardt. Please check out all of our high school and Carroll Lynx sports coverage from the past year on CMSportsNet.com, Facebook, and YouTube, and on cable channel HD 1086. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.